Episode 100. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tip In Maple Leaf Podcast 100th episode.
To attain the unattainable, to comprehend the incomprehensible, to know the unknown, what lies ahead, to touch the untouchable. Is there a deeper depth to fall? What rises from the ashes? Hard to hear a heartbeat. Can't seem to find a soul. Is there anything inside? Is there a fire that burns so bad you will do anything to reach the highest of heights? Turn your red blood blue and show us something new. This goes out to the entire Toronto Maple Leafs organization from top to bottom.
And we're back. Leafs win, moving on to the second round.
Not exactly, buddy. Not exactly, brother.
The fuck happened? Up 3-1 over a team that barely made the playoffs, that was 18 points behind you in the standings. The worst team to make the playoffs, points-wise, in the entire NHL. You lose game 5, you lose game 6, you shit the bed in game 7. Montreal is getting on a flight to Winnipeg right now, and the Leafs will have a lot of questions to answer. But Dale, I got to ask right off top, how you feeling?
You know what, man? Like, okay.
Does it kind of feel like, I said this to my wife before I came down here to record, I kind of feel like game 6 took a lot out of me, and I was almost expecting this loss. Like, I felt more down and like gut punched after game 6. And tonight I was kind of like, this is just how it goes. Being a Leaf fan, this is just how it fucking goes.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I thought after game 5, when they didn't close it out, after game 6, when they didn't close it out, and you just, the way they played in those two games too, game 5 and 6, I'm like, okay, I'm still on the fucking, on the bandwagon here. Like, I'm not a bandwagon jumper. These are my dudes. So, okay, let's see. Go out there, win a fucking game, play the best game you can fucking ever play tonight. What did Matthews and Marner have? One shot after the first 40 minutes? Did they leave it all out there tonight? Because that's not what I fucking saw.
No, that was one of the worst game 7s I've ever seen. It reminded me a lot of Columbus last year. It reminded me a lot of game 5 where they lost 3-0. I don't know what it is about this team. I don't know what it is, but when the pressure's on, they go MIA. They go into hiding.
Oh, my God.
And when the pressure was on Montreal rose to the occasion. You know what? I'm going to give full props to the Montreal Canadiens. Great series. They did it, man. They came back and they won these 3 games. And as much as I hate the fucking Habs, I got a ton of respect for Carey Price.
Oh, Price.
A ton of respect for Carey Price. He's a great goalie. He's a great person.
Hang on a second before we fucking start blowing smoke.
I'm not blowing smoke. I'm just giving them credit.
Hang on a second. Let's be fucking real here. Were there any serious fucking scoring threats on Carey Price? Let's be fucking serious here. Like, Carey Price made the saves when he needed to make saves, but were any of them like, oh my God? Yeah, okay, you go back to game 2 and shit, like the big paddle save on Spets or whatever. Right. He made some good saves in the series.
But you're talking in
game
the
5, game
game
6, game 7?
No, nothing.
Is there any blockbuster? Like, they gave a stat going into the third period tonight that they had like one scoring chance from like in tight through the first 40 minutes. The Leafs I'm talking to on Carey Price.
In a game 7.
A lot of perimeter shit. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not. Okay, yeah, the Habs won. Congratulations, Montreal Canadiens. Good for you. You beat the fucking biggest choke job of the fucking in the history of the National Hockey League, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Congratulations. Yeah. Real pat on the back for fucking that one. Like, the Habs know how to win series. They beat Pittsburgh last year. Who do you think's an easier out? The Habs, or sorry, the Penguins or the Toronto Maple Leafs?
It's not just the Penguins. They've done this in the whole time that we have watched the Leafs choke, like the 3 series against Boston and everything. The Habs have won playoff series when they weren't supposed to. They're always just scratching and clawing their way in. They've gone to the final round. But why can't Toronto do it?
Like, I don't look at this and be like, oh, the Habs.
No, it wasn't the Habs outplayed the Leafs. The Leafs sucked.
Yeah, the Leafs were unbelievable. Like,
they sucked.
Fucking believable, man. It is truly unbelievable to watch this team over and over and over. Look, you lose game 5, you lose game 6 in terrible fashion. Didn't even show up for game 6, which is absolutely fucking just, how do you explain that? But tonight, you got another chance. You got another chance to be like, okay, we got to do this. Like, how are you not sitting around that dressing room before the game or this morning being like, if we don't win this game, some of my best friends aren't going to be around here next year, because if you don't think there's big changes coming here, like, let's get fucking serious. These guys can't win. These guys, look, you can't beat the Montreal Canadiens. We're talking about ultimately winning a championship.
Right. You can't use the Boston Bruins excuse.
No, dude. If you can't beat the Montreal Canadiens, who are we talking about here?
Then who can you beat in the playoffs?
Who can you fucking beat? You can't beat Columbus. Not knocking Columbus. They play fucking hard. But you can't beat Columbus in a 5-game series. Okay, I get the Boston losses. Boston is a hard out for fucking anybody. Look at the way they're playing now.
They beat the Capitals. They're steamrolling the fucking Islanders.
Wouldn't be surprised if the Bruins are in the Stanley Cup final.
You take Boston to 7 games and you lose in game 7. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Like, the Leafs pushed in those series. Like, there's a lot of good things. Like, a lot of good things coming. They push Boston hard. Like, they're going to learn from this. They're going to learn.
1 year they were down 3-1 and they came back and pushed it to game 7.
This team hasn't learned a goddamn fucking thing. The core players will get to fucking that. That's what it is. But surrounding it with guys like, I thought Spezza was great. Imagine Spezza gets knocked up to the second line tonight in the third period. I've only been calling for that for about 3 fucking months. But anyway, like, there's just so many areas to go here as to what the fuck, like, what the serious fuck, what is going on here?
You know what happened? JT got hurt in the first game, and it showed that the Leafs' depth wasn't that deep. It wasn't.
Chad, they won the next 3 games in epic fashion.
They did, but without.
Come on, dude.
But without Matthews and Marner. And Marner did shit in those 3 games, and they still
one of the biggest. Like,
but what I'm saying
is,
after JT went down, all the pressure went on Matthews and Marner, and your depth can only take you so far.
They couldn't handle it.
And they couldn't handle it. And something's got to give. Whether Dubas gets fired, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't pin a fucking ounce of this on Kyle Dubas. Personally, I don't. You got to play the games, dude. Like, if you don't, I don't know what else Kyle Dubas could have done. I literally do not know what else he could have done.
He's going to get a lot of flack for giving up the first-round pick for Foligno.
Now in retrospect, sure. But if he wouldn't have made that trade, he would have got a lot of shit. I would have been like, what are you doing?
That shows me he believed in the team. He was like, you guys can win.
You're going to have to throw the George Bush quote in on top of this one. Fool me once, fool me twice, whatever. There's an old saying in Texas.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. A fool don't get fooled again.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a saying in Texas. I'm sure there's a saying here too. Blah blah blah. Whatever
the actual saying is, and that does coincide with this. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's how all Leaf fans should feel right now.
Twice.
Wow, fool me 4 times.
Oh, twice. Yeah, twice would be nice. It's a little more than fucking twice here.
I don't know. I'm at a loss for words in a way, but
Yeah, it's hard to talk about, but it's not surprising. But in a way, this season,
is it not surprising?
no, it's not surprising.
Okay. I thought you were saying it's surprising.
No, it's not surprising to
No,
me,
yeah.
but in a way, this season it is because we
They
all
fooled
thought,
you. They
oh
made
yeah,
you
oh
think
fuck yeah,
the
big
Leafs
time,
this year made you think
oh
things were
big time,
different.
big
Things
time,
were different, and we're in a different division. We don't have to face Boston and Tampa.
big
Don't you
time,
worry. We're going to the Final Four this year. Everything is gravy. We're the
big time.
best team in the North. They fooled me. They fooled you. They fooled everybody in Leaf Nation that this was different. And then what do? They come out, they fall on their dicks in game 7, and that's fucking it. 5, 6, 7 fall on their dicks, out the door.
Like
out the fucking door.
Like, look, man, if they again, like if they were, yeah, it's sad because honestly, I believed more in this team this particular season than I have in, I thought
how many quotes do we have on this podcast of you personally saying this is different?
Because did it not feel that way? Did it not look that way?
It did. This team didn't really. They steamrolled through the North Division.
They went through a few skids here and there, but they always fucking bounced back. They always bounced back. They always responded back.
So what happens? What happens now? Where do we go?
I have no idea. But what I do not like is
not recapping the game.
We're not recapping the fucking game. What I do not like is this, is that the bigger the game, not interested.
The bigger the game, the harder they fall. They don't show up.
And that is a very big problem, in my opinion. The bigger the game, it's like, what is gonna motivate these fucking guys? Like, do they give a shit? Because it doesn't look to me. Okay, some guys. I'm not gonna say everybody.
I don't think.
Honestly, I thought Nylander was good, Chad. I think he was the best forward in this series. Oh. Even tonight, like, they weren't great, but I thought Nylander was buzzing. He looked strong on the puck. He made some good defensive fucking plays.
Nylander was exactly what you paid for. For the money you're giving Nylander, he gave you exactly what you want and more. But don't talk about Nylander. Matthews and Marner. What the fuck is it? Can you not play? Okay. Can you not go to the net? Can you not take a hit?
It's all those things. But here's what I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is how I feel right now tonight. Like, Nylander has surpassed Mitch and Austin, in my opinion, with like being able to take it to another level when it counts more, when it counts the most.
If you're the GM right now and you're building a team specifically for the playoffs from this roster,
Nylander is still on it. He's not going anywhere.
Nylander's still on it. The funny thing about this whole series is all the people we were kind of shitting on going into it, Nylander's MIA, Kerfoot, we should bench him. They're the guys that showed up. And the two guys who we praised from game 1 to game 56 didn't fucking show. And honestly, okay, Matthews, I thought he didn't produce, but he wasn't invisible. But Marner
wasn't invisible.
Well, Marner may have played some of the worst hockey I have ever seen.
Here, just two things about tonight, Mitch Marner specifically. And I don't want to light a fire on Mitch because everybody else is going to be doing it. So whatever.
And timeout before you do that. This is Mitch, the hockey player, not the person. So for all those people that are attacking him on social media as like hatred things about the person, we're not talking about that.
No, man. Mitch is a great dude. He does great things, charity work in the community. He does a lot of great things.
He's got a positive attitude. He's a great guy. But when it comes to playing in the playoffs,
at the same time, he makes a lot of money for this hockey team. He's supposed to be counted on as one of the top fucking guys. The first goal tonight was a direct result of a Mitch Marner turnover. And then late in the first period, literally 10 seconds left, Mitch gets a point blank shot in the slot, and he doesn't even hit the fucking net. He rips it fucking wide. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no,
doesn't even hit the game. they're dying for scoring opportunities. He doesn't even hit the fucking net. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, just such a disappointment from him. And yeah, Matthews not invisible, but not nearly enough. Not near.
Not nearly enough. God.
Nathan McKinnon scored 8 goals last night.
He does have, what does he have? 7 goals or 8 goals in this playoffs?
He didn't score 8 goals last night, but he has 8 goals. Colorado's played 5 games. They haven't lost a game. He's got 8 goals.
Honestly, like, you can say what you want about the Leafs losing this and the Habs moving on. If you can find me a team right now that can beat the Colorado Avalanche,
not happening.
For the rest of the 30 teams in the NHL, it don't matter.
No,
this
maybe Boston, maybe Boston. That's probably your Stanley Cup. That's probably your Stanley Cup final.
Colorado's on a mission, man. They are on a mission, and I thought Toronto.
Or it might not be, because the way the seeding works, those guys could meet in the semis. So I don't know.
In the what?
In the semis.
What's the semi?
They're not doing the East-West thing, right? So
yeah, I know.
Whoever wins the next
and Toronto threw a wrench in that. So the North Division, number 1 and number 2, gone. 3 and 4 are moving on.
The only other division that happened in was the East, I think. Pittsburgh was at the East. Pittsburgh and Washington both went out, and Boston was the 3rd seed, and the Islanders were the 4th seed. So some major upsets in all those series, I would say. Yeah. Maybe not Boston. I don't know. Boston.
Yeah, Boston and the Islanders, they're upsets, but they're not and Winnipeg beating the Oilers is a little bit of an upset. Montreal beating
Not Toronto, surprising though.
Montreal beating Toronto is the biggest upset of the 2021 playoffs.
Without a doubt. And then so let's go back here, because like I know like we're just winging it here, but like the fact that they can't, and look, like this is just, in my personal opinion, like this is the most embarrassing moment that I have ever had as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. This is it. This is at the top of the mountain. It does not get worse than this. There's nowhere lower to go than this right now. Like those Boston losses in Game 7, terrible. But they fought back in those series, and at least they were
forced the Game 7s.
Not one time they had a 3-2 series lead and lost Game 6.
Right, but you blow a 3-2 series lead, and that was back when Marner and Matthews were still kind of rookies, and we're like, they're learning.
Right.
What's the excuse?
What have they learned? They haven't learned. Yeah, like from a playoff loss after playoff loss after playoff loss, they say start on time, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we're going to learn,
Bullshit.
It left, we left the bubble, the Columbus loss, like bad taste in our mouth. Oh, really? Yeah. That really showed in Game 5, 6, and 7. Really fucking showed.
What taste do you have in your mouth right now?
Listen, good teams, Boston, Colorado, when the fucking foot is on the throat, elimination game, guess what? They ain't letting the other team fucking back in. They're not even giving them a fucking sniff. It's over. It's
because
fucking
over. They know once you give them one sign of life, it's a series again. Dude, if Toronto had to just come out in Game 5 and buried the Habs, game over. We're moving on. But they didn't. They gave them life. And what happened in Game 6? Montreal came more to life. And what happened in Game 7? Montreal felt like we can win this series. And they did. They fucking did.
It is the most embarrassing playoff loss I've ever witnessed as a Leafs fan. And there's been some doozies.
Yeah, there has. Okay, how about this?
Blowing a 3-1 series lead against this team, and just the way they played in Game 5, the way they played in all 3 elimination games, I'm just like, what is this? If I'm Dubas right now, I want to just be like, oh man, Shanahan should be in that dressing room tonight, blasting these motherfuckers.
If I was Shanahan, I would go down and be like, guess what? Go enjoy your summers, go to your mansions and have fun and play in your pool and do all that. But one of you motherfuckers is going to be in Buffalo next year.
Oh, more than one.
More than one of you.
Not Buffalo. Fuck Buffalo. How do you like Columbus? You want to go to Columbus?
Do you think, though, that saying shit like that to them, like, would do anything? Or do they have to actually do something? Do they have to, I hate to say it, do they have to contemplate trading Mitch Marner or
Oh,
trading?
I absolutely think so. Now, like, yeah, I hate to say it too, but like, I don't see how there's not fundamental change here. Like, how many chances are you going to give it?
If you're not going to fire the coach or the GM, then the core has got to be broken up.
Like, look, like, let's just be realistic here. This isn't like this is why I think this is the most epic Leaf playoff loss I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. It's not like we lost in the third round against the Bruins. It's not like we made it to the second round and like gave the Jets a run and like lost in game 7 in the second round. We lost to a far lesser team, in my opinion, the Montreal Canadiens in the first
18
round.
points between Toronto and Montreal.
It's crazy. And it's not just that they lost, Chad. It's the way they lost. I did not see
this wasn't back and forth.
No, man. This was like a check, please.
Yeah.
Not that interested. Don't really care if we win or fucking not.
No, you know what it was? It was
not for a man. I don't want to say like there were some guys that I felt were giving it more than I thought. Brody played well. I think Nylander played well. I thought Campbell played well.
The core of the team, games 2, 3, and 4, they won. When Montreal's back was up against the wall, they started playing hard. They started playing dirty. They started coming out like guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
And the core of this team was like, whoa. We don't want to play that way.
No.
We want open ice. We want spinoramas. We want skill. We want fast pace. And Montreal's like, nope, we're clogging the neutral zone. We're collapsing in front of the net. If you want to score, you're going to have to get in here and fucking grind it home. And Toronto's like, no, we don't do that.
Which is a little like when they brought in guys like Simmons and
Invisible.
Foligno hurt. Foligno, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not pinning this on Foligno, but
no,
Simmons I expected more from Wayne Simmons.
And that, hey, I mentioned earlier last night about like I wouldn't be surprised to see Foligno down with Spezza and Thornton. That's exactly what they did, and that line probably looked the best that they've looked in a long time since Brooks has like been centering in the regular season. But regardless, a non-factor, just like non-factors all over the place. There was no.
It all comes down to the core of the team, the guys who get paid half the fucking salary.
But here is the real thing here. If we were sitting here right now, being like, man, they played hard. They went at them from the opening draw. Price stood on his fucking head. Like they were all over them. They just couldn't bury it.
They played a terrible game.
That's not what we're talking about here. No. That is not the scenario. The scenario is, for the third straight time, a fucking no-show through 40 minutes. Actually, 50, really. So
you could actually make the case 60.
Well, pretty much. Yeah. Late power play goal, or wasn't even?
They pulled the goalie and they got it in, but even when they pulled the goalie with 5 minutes left or whatever, yeah, they had the puck and they were doing things, but like you said earlier, they never felt like a threat. Price never had to make a 10-bell save or anything like that. They never, ever felt like a threat.
Dude, I hated
started. I was expecting Toronto to come out and just do that thing where they're fucking flying and you can't get the puck off them. That was not the case.
No.
At all.
They look disinterested again. And so that's why these guys can't get
panicky.
A pass.
They look slow and like scared.
You got to put a bomb in that room, in my personal opinion. You got to put a bomb in it and just be like, you know what, guys? I'm sorry. How many times can you give these guys the learning experience? Like, okay, yeah. What have they learned? They always say the right thing.
They're on like year 2. Matthews and Marner are on like what, year 2 or 3 or 4? I don't even know, of already making like superstar money. Your fucking learning days are long gone.
Yeah, no.
When you sign the contract that someone is going to pay you over $10 million a year to play hockey, that includes the playoffs. That's not I'll play regular season and I'll win the Rocket Richard and I'll be top in the league in points. But when the playoffs come, I'm just going to sit in the corner and suck on my thumb. This includes the fucking playoffs, and they didn't do it. And you know what's funny? A week ago or whenever fucking Winnipeg beat Edmonton, this was the exact conversation happening in Edmonton.
Oh,
You were like,
yeah.
can McDavid and Draisaitl get it done in the playoffs?
And the answer is no.
No. And
can
Marner and
these-
Matthews get it done in the playoffs?
The answer is no. And that's what makes this one the worst of them all because of who they were playing. Like, let's just really be honest here. Like, if you can't, like we said off the top, if you can't beat these guys, who the fuck can you beat?
Yeah, Matthews was matched up all series against Danault. This isn't Patrice Bergeron.
No.
This isn't Nathan McKinnon. Like Danault, yeah, he's a good player, but Matthews should dominate that matchup.
100%.
Day in and day out. So if they did get by Montreal and all of a sudden Winnipeg's deeper at center than Montreal, would Matthews just go MIA again in the second round because it would get harder? Like what would happen in the third round if you had to play a Boston or a Colorado or a Vegas or I don't know?
Well, yeah, I think we both know what would happen.
They get blown out.
Yeah, they would get and that goes back to like you want to talk about like this team being like Stanley Cup contenders.
Oh my God. Fuck. I'm not thinking Stanley Cup. I'm thinking how do we get by the first we get by the worst playoff team
they went into this season, that's where they were at. To a man. Spets is here, Simmons is here, Thornton's here, Bogosian's here. Like dude, right from the first episode of the Blueprint in an early podcast that we were doing, Keith, from day one, before they even hit the ice, they're talking about the Stanley Cup. That was it for them. They legitimately thought we can contend for a Stanley Cup. Like, what a fucking rude awakening here. And they fooled us all. They fooled us fucking all. Maybe not us, maybe not all of us. Maybe there were some Leafs fans like, we'll see what happens. I was like bought in. It's different. Look at how they look in the regular season. They don't let anything get to them. If they lose a couple, they come right back. They look dominant. This is like an epic collapse. Like they are like, I'm just going to pour it on here because I don't give a fuck anymore. They are
pour it on, man. Pour it on.
Out of all of the original 6 franchises, like these guys just are the fucking
Okay, let's look at the playoffs so far this year. Okay, now, like you said, the Leafs have played 7 games. They've already played 7 games, and a lot of these teams are in the second round, haven't even played 7 games yet. Kucherov, 12 points. McKinnon, 12 points. Landeskog, 11 points. Huberdeau, 10 points. Pasternak, 9 points. And Kucherov, 7 goals. McKinnon, 5 goals. Landeskog, 4 goals. Like these are these teams' best players. Stamkos has 8 points. And in series, the only Toronto player even close to the top 10, William Nylander with 8 points.
Okay. And all those guys you just mentioned, like all those series where they got those points in my opinion, were a lot more difficult than this fucking series the Leafs just played in. This should have been I hate to say cakewalk, but that's what it should have been. Why does
Kucherov show up? Why does Kucherov show up in the playoffs and just dominate? And Nate McKinnon just dominate. And Victor Hedman has 9 assists. 9 assists. 9 points. He's a defenseman and he has more points than any of the Leafs forwards. And he's only played 7 games.
Yeah, why? Why is that?
Why is it? And I'm scrolling through the stats right now, and the next highest, like out of the big boys on the Leafs, Mitch Marner, 50th, 4 points.
Oh God! Look, dude.
Like what a fucking joke! What an embarrassment!
A joke and an embarrassment. That is what it is. We have to call it what it is here. Like this is not the
Austin Matthews, not even in the top 50.
Yeah. Well, what did he have? 3 points, 4 points in the entire playoffs. 5.
My website only brings up the top. Oh, sorry. 5 points. Sorry, I found him.
He had an assist tonight. He had 4 points going into tonight. He had 1 assist tonight on the Nylander goal.
Either way,
congratulations.
Ahead of him,
11 million fucking.
Ahead of him,
12 million.
Kerfoot,
really.
Spezza.
But Spezza had 3 goals in the series. Spezza's got more fucking heart.
Don't you think that Matthews and Marner should be up there with Kucherov and McKinnon and Landeskog and Pasternak and Rantanen and Hedman and Stamkos? Should they be in there?
Yeah, should be.
Well, they're not. Not only are they not up there, Here are the guys that are around them: Roman Yossi, Anthony Cirelli, Ryan Johansson, Alex Tuck. This, are you kidding me?
Okay, but so here's where it's at now, Chad. They got passes before. They got passes.
They don't get a pass this year.
No, now it's like the entire fucking script has flipped on these guys. Now, all of a sudden, the Austin Matthews fans and the Mitch Marner fans out there, which I'm one of, I'm like, these guys they can't do it. They can't get it done. When it matters most, like we talked about briefly.
So does this come down to now they've learned that they have to show up in the playoffs?
I'll never think that again.
Are you at the point now where you're like,
I'm over. I'm done with that.
I was talking about this. My wife's like, what are you going to talk about on the podcast? I'm like, well, we'll talk about the game and stuff. She's like, no, I mean next year.
What did I say to you last night?
Yeah, and she's like,
before we were
you'll do podcasts about the regular season, but yeah, they're gonna win in the regular season. They'll probably be first in their division or second in their division. But I
said that to you last night.
Yeah, exactly. You said this, and she's like, you have to wait an entire year before you get to really evaluate this team again. And I was like, fuck, it sucks, but you're right.
Like, okay,
we have to wait till next playoffs.
No, like we didn't say this like when we were recording last night, so I'll say it now. Like, it doesn't matter what they do in the regular season. It doesn't matter. They could win the fucking Atlantic Division.
They could win the President's Trophy.
They could win the President's Trophy.
And they're still fucking losing in the first round.
Matthews could score 60 goals. Mitch could lead the league with 120 points. I don't give a fuck anymore about any of those things. I don't care. Great. We have the best goal scorer in the game who goes fucking MIA when it matters most. I don't give a fuck if you score 60 goals in the regular season. I literally don't care. Score 25 and fucking play your fucking heart out when it counts the most. Literally. I'd rather have him score 30 goals or 25 and just go out like in the playoffs like a Nathan McKinnon. You can't teach that shit. McKinnon looks like a guy who's like,
oh my God,
I will do whatever it takes to win a Stanley Cup. Is there any guy on this fucking team that you can say that about?
No. The core of this team, Matthews and Marner, looked like they wanted to be easy. They want it to be easy, man. They want to come out. They thought when they won games 2, 3, and 4, this series was over. They were going to come out, stick handle their way, do all this fucking skill shit and win 4-1 and the series was over. And Montreal.
It's not easy, boys. And if they don't know that by now, it doesn't matter who you're playing.
And that's the most frustrating
It's never going to be easy. It's never going to be easy.
That's the most frustrating point is that Montreal made it difficult for Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7, and not once did they have a response.
But how can you?
They came back and tied it and sent it to overtime, but you still fucking lost. So I don't care.
Exactly. As a Leafs fan, how can you believe? And like, I've got the post game on in the background here. I can see. I just saw. I'm not obviously listening to it. I'll catch it later. Keefe just did his thing. Mitch was out there. Austin was out there. They all looked like they were fucking crying. Well, you should be fucking crying because it was a fucking. You should be crying. You should be crying because of the fucking joke that was this first round playoff series against the Montreal Canadiens. But how can you believe as a Leafs fan any word that comes out of these guys' mouth about like, oh, we've learned this and a bad taste here, and like we've
the boy who cried
on time
and the boy who cried.
Oh my God, the cliches out the fucking yin yang. Yeah. Are you kidding me with this shit? I can't trust a word out of these guys. Fucking any of them, like any of their mouths. I'm like, okay, show me.
And you go and you grow a phenomenal mustache and a phenomenal mullet. Just to draw me in even more, to believe that you knew what you were doing.
It's the worst part about it.
It's a fucking joke, man. Anybody with a mustache and a mullet, you believe everything they tell you. They lied to us. They fucking lied to us.
Yeah. Like, I'm dumb. I'll take it right on the chin here. Honestly, I honestly thought this was different. I thought it was different.
2 weeks ago in our playoff preview, we were picking the Leafs to go to the Final Four.
100%. I was like,
by Montreal, Winnipeg, and Edmonton, no problem.
100%.
couldn't get by the fucking Habs with 3 chances to eliminate them.
Yeah, 3
couldn't
chances to eliminate. So now, okay, so
I'm done, man.
We knew where the playoff psyche was.
The tip-in will now be a Seattle Kraken podcast.
Hey, the tip-in Kraken podcast. I've thought about that too.
The tip-in Kraken podcast.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'd probably, if we did that, we'd probably get to celebrate a cup
sooner than cheering for this fucking team. Look at fucking. We should have just went with the Knights as soon as they started. Even though Colorado's probably going to whoop them, but
yeah, we should start an Avs podcast. That's what you got to do. Anyway,
Nordiques, what?
I don't even know where to go, man.
Well,
I'm so at a loss. I'm so frustrated, and I just don't care anymore. Like you're saying, you're watching the post game. I don't even want to watch it.
No, I have it on in the background.
Tomorrow it's gonna come up on my feed. It's gonna come up on.
No, I don't want to watch the X. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to
hear it. Exactly. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear them say
exactly.
Oh, we gave it our all and
stop talking and do something.
Exactly.
Like it's ridiculous at this point. It is beyond fucking ridiculous. And Dubas will go out there. He'll fall on the sword. My fault. I need to be better. Blah blah blah. No, Dubas has a pass.
I hope he doesn't do that. I hope he comes out and says, I didn't do anything wrong.
You know what?
These motherfuckers did not play.
Yeah, he should. He should point the fucking blame where the blame really needs to be pointed because it's not a Dubas. I'm sorry. Anybody calling for Dubas's head right now, I think you're missing the fucking mark here. I think you're missing the mark big time. You got to do it on the ice. I said off the top, I don't know what Kyle Dubas could have done better than what he did here. He upgraded goaltending depth. Brought in defensive depth, forward depth, Foligno. It just everything he did was guys, you had a great regular season. I'm going to help you. I'm going to bring in depth to help you in the playoffs. And this is the fucking thanks he gets from his fucking big boys? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a fucking joke.
It's a slap in the face, man. Honestly, it is a fucking joke. It is a joke. I think Dubas he's learning too, but I think Dubas needs to he's got to put the hammer down here. Something's got to happen here. He's got to put the hammer down. How many more chances do you want of this? Do you want this again next season? I don't know if we were talking about this in the pregame or not. Going back to the Atlantic Division next year, back with Boston, back with Tampa, Florida Panthers, Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, whatever. That's the normal division. Do the Leafs even make the playoffs in that division? Florida's better. Now the Habs are who knows where these guys are fucking going? Where do they go from here? What do you do? What do you do? You're tied in somewhat long-term to the big guys. What do you do here? What do you honestly do? What would you do?
I don't know, but I'm just reading some of the quotes.
I don't even want to hear it.
The only thing,
anybody taking accountability?
Who do you think is taking accountability?
I don't think any of them.
Jack Campbell.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He was almost in tears.
He got a lot of help. He
was almost in tears, and he said, just thinking of how hard our team battled, and then for it to end like that, and me to give up the worst goal of my career to Brendan Gallagher happened in Game 7. It's just unacceptable.
Off a Mitch Marner turnover. And Jack, I'm sorry. Here's another narrative coming out of this game.
Marner's saying that they put too much him and Matthews put too much pressure on themselves.
Oh, fuck off with that shit. If anybody comes out of this pointing the finger at Jack Campbell, you are missing the boat big time. Because I know there's those fucking goalie haters out there.
It was a soft 5-hole goal.
This game's over. This game's over in Game 6 if the rest of the team shows up. Jack Campbell went into Montreal to win Game 6 after a shitty performance from his fucking team in Game 5. This series doesn't even go 7 games if it's not for fucking Jack Campbell, or the lack of shit in front of him. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not. This is not Jack Campbell. This is not Jack Campbell's fault.
You could switch goalies, and it's probably the same result. It's probably the same result because the Leafs just didn't have the heart. They didn't have the drive. They didn't want to get it done. And they're going to go and they're going to use just reading their quotes, they're almost trying to get pity for themselves. Marner's like, I want to be the best guy on the ice, and it's totally unacceptable that I wasn't. I put a lot of pressure on myself. So I have to stop doing that. No, Mitch, you have to put pressure on yourself, but then you have to go out on the ice and fucking perform. Everybody puts pressure on themselves.
Yeah, pressure is what it's all about. You're never going to win if you can't perform under pressure. Pressure is the whole fucking thing. It's the playoffs.
That's human nature. Everybody that gets up and goes to work has big days.
Any professional athlete that has tasted success performs under pressure.
Yeah.
Period.
Do you think Wayne Gretzky or Mark Messier, those Oilers teams in the 80s, didn't put pressure on themselves? They probably put so much pressure on themselves. But they got out there and they did it. So don't fucking give me this shit that you have to stop thinking that way. You have to perform on the ice.
There's a lack of a lot of things here with this team. And like we can pick the bones. Like maybe we're fresh off of this loss, but I think we both kind of saw it coming. We were both hoping that they would win. But deep down, we were kind of like, we saw where this was going. And like, Carey Price has himself a night and whatever. And Price was good. But I think the Leafs could have beat him if they played fucking better. The Leafs, like, they just go away. Like, it should have been over in 5 games, Chad. Should have never even gotten to a fucking game 7. And that's like one of my biggest takeaways. You're up 3-1 in a series. Everyone thinks you're going to change the narrative for once. Nope. Lose game 5, lose game 6, lose game 7. And now it's back to like the narrative is even worse than it was before. It's like these guys are the biggest choke job in the history of the National Hockey League. So in the history of the league.
You don't want to put pressure on yourself. You're like, oh, I can't put pressure on myself.
Pressure's mounting with every fucking loss.
When you fucking do this, now, next year when you get into the playoffs, if you have a 3-1 lead and you blow game 4 and game 5, you want to talk about pressure? The pressure's going to fucking knock your dick off, Mitch. It's going to be so hard and so tight. Anyway, reading Sheldon Keefe's quotes, he's giving a lot of credit to the guys who played well. But he ain't saying much about
I wouldn't have mentioned Mitch or Austin.
He's saying like Spezza played great and Foligno played through a really tough injury, but still gave them 100%. But he didn't say anything. He said he didn't even go in the room to talk to the guys because they were so devastated after. And then Morgan Riley's
why would they be devastated after? Why would they be devastated after? Because you shit the fucking bed?
Yeah, because they honestly.
They're talking you
as if they thought they were going to win the cup and they couldn't get by the Habs. Like, can you believe we're here right now?
No, I can't.
Can you believe me and you are sitting here talking? Just think a week ago they were up 3-1. And now we're sitting here talking about a game 7 loss to the Habs. That's where we are, man. Can you believe this?
I can't, and I won't ever defend this team ever again as long as I live. Unless they win a Stanley Cup.
Is there a part of you that actually can believe we are here? Because you just know that's how it goes in Toronto?
I'm going to be honest. No, man. I am dumb enough to think like things were changing. Not this. We've got great players. They're going to figure it out. They surrounded them with like incredible depth guys. How do they not figure this out? And that's why it's so frustrating and disheartening right now, because I truly don't know where they go from here. Like, I do not know where they go from here. I don't know what they do to make this team better. Does the core finally fucking snap out of it and be like, oh, okay, next year?
No, you can't do that. It's the George Bush, man. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, fool won't get fooled again. And this isn't fool me twice. This is 7 elimination games that they can't get it done
with this team, with this particular core group of guys. Yeah.
So
And in epic fashion too, like not really a close game, like 3-1 game. They all basically 3-0 game. They popped like, well, two, whatever, empty net
it
goal, and
doesn't
then
matter. You're
Nylander
right.
scored
They
late.
didn't show up. And last year in Columbus, game 5, didn't show up. And the
No.
game 7s against Boston, I think they 5-1, 7-4, basically got blown out.
When the Habs scored that Mitch Marner turnover tonight, when Gallagher put it in the net, I'm like, okay. Literally one goal, and I'm like, okay. Like if
I
Matthews,
texted you and I said, you cannot come back 3 games in a row and force it to overtime.
no, like the
Like
first
impossible.
goal was crucial. If Matthews would have scored early or Mitch would have scored early, everyone would have been like, oh, the big guys are going. It probably would have went to their legs, and like we might have seen a different result here. It's Mitch Marner.
But if you want to score early, you got to try.
Yeah, that would help. That would help.
Just too much. I hate saying it because I don't like sounding like the old man sitting on the couch, but it was too pretty. It was too pretty when
always is.
You needed to be a little dirtier. You know what it's like. Sometimes, you know what? They should have just tried to get a fucking tip in.
Yeah, that would have helped. Hey, power play. How many power plays did it have tonight? 2?
How many power plays did they have in the series?
A lot.
180?
Power play's been shit for months. They basically kept going with the same thing.
Hey, Manny Malhotra, we blew sunshine up your ass. Hit the road. You're done.
Yeah, brutal.
You're done.
Absolutely brutal. The reluctancy to change, though, until it was too late. Like, they should have had this thing figured out power play wise a long time ago. They scored They started the third period on the power play.
They
not
fucked.
a snip.
They fucked.
Yeah, not a snip.
Once again, we are going to wake up tomorrow morning as the joke in the NHL.
Oh, bigger than ever. Bigger than ever.
First in the North, still the joke in the NHL.
Never
Islander fans will talk about, JT left to go to Toronto. Here we are playing in the second round again. Boston fans will make fun of us because they always do. Hab fans will be riding Toronto because we suck.
Oh.
The whole fucking league is
laughing stock.
We're the laughing stock. We're the laughing stock,
and deservedly so. Deservedly so.
Yeah, they deserve every bit of trash talk.
I can't stand up for these guys. There's no way. Like, I'm not standing up for these guys anymore. Like, until they show me something, I'm not fucking standing up for these guys again. Until they show me something, I'm not like I don't give a fuck about your regular season success. Good for fucking you. Great. When the games get harder, they disappear. Like, it's absolutely.
It's heartbreaking, man.
It is, man. It is.
Like, I don't know. I got emailed today, and they're like, hey, we're putting a video montage together of well-known people from Peterborough who are Leaf fans and Hab fans, and we're going to put this whole thing together. So I'm like, yeah. And so I do the video and I'm like, yeah, go Leafs, go. They're going to get the monkey off their back and break the curse tonight. Now I honestly
Today?
I did that today, this afternoon. They put the video together so it go. And of course they put me first. So now when people watch the video, like I almost feel like emailing them saying, can you take me out of the video? Because I feel embarrassed now that I went on this and said, they're going to win tonight. Go Leafs, go. Like, because I knew in the back of my head, I did that because I'm a Leafs fan.
Yeah.
I do this and I'm like, yeah, go Leafs, go. They're going to win. But honest to God, in the back of my head, and since game 6, I have been talking with my wife and to everybody, and I'm like, they're done. Like, after game 6, I felt like the series was over. And
oh my God, man.
Here we are, man.
It's just so, look, like we can come on again and do
we can talk about changes that might
happen. Like we'll let it sink in for a couple days, and like talk about maybe where we think they should go and what they should do. Like, we're not going to get into fucking trade Mitch tonight and fucking this guy, like trade Riley, whatever. But I will say this: I think there does need to be wholesale changes here. Wholesale changes. I just do not understand how they did not come out tonight with like, I made a comment a couple podcasts ago about when early in the series, when there was those scrums and Matthews was kind of getting like, the jersey yanked and he's got the big smile on his face. Like he doesn't want, he's like, oh, laughing it off. Like it's like funny. Like, oh, we're not going to engage in that kind of shit. That I didn't like that. That didn't sit well with me. Do you remember me mentioning that?
Yes,
like,
I do remember you mentioning that.
Like I get the aspect of like, oh, we're not going to engage in that, blah, 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 whatever. But if you look at Sid or a guy like Taves or whatever, like they would never, ever, even if that was Tavares out there, like Tavares wouldn't just laugh it off. Right. Like,
no.
It's that I just don't like seeing that out of a guy. I'm sorry. Like very skilled, highly entertaining hockey player.
I get it. I get it's like you're not going to rattle me. This is all funny. But what it actually shows is
it's not funny, though.
Yeah. What it actually shows is that you don't like this rough stuff and you don't understand it. And you don't understand that if you want to win the Stanley Cup, you've got to get in there and play that way. And they don't do it. It drives me nuts. And Mitch, oh my God, man, watching the game tonight, Marner does everything to avoid a hit. And every time he gets hit, he flops on the ice and looks at the ref like, you're going to call something. They're not going to call the regular season penalties in the playoffs. Get off your ass. You're going to get clutched. You're going to get grabbed. You're going to get tripped.
I agree.
It's going to happen. They're not going to call that, but they're all of them. It's not just Mitch. Matthews, Hyman, Marner. They're all looking at the ref like, are you going to call that? Get over it. It's not happening in the playoffs.
No, I totally agree.
What I wanted to say was, if you want to get us a 100th episode present, go on your favorite podcast app and give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. That would be a great 100th episode.
And if you're listening to this and you have any way of getting a hold of us, let us know, because I am very on the fence right now. Do we keep the Tip and Maple Leafs podcast going? Or are we at the end of the road?
You should put that as a poll question on social media. Should we retire the podcast?
I love doing the podcast, man. I love talking Leafs.
Why do we do it? Why do we do it?
That's what I'm asking right now.
We could do like a 90s podcast and just talk about Saved by the Bell.
Do we switch to the Tip In Hockey podcast and maybe broaden our viewership and we just get away from the Leafs? Still cover the Leafs, but broaden it to other teams as well.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
There's nothing else I want to talk. Like this, we'll do another podcast, and maybe we'll give it a week, and we'll come on after it's sunk in a little bit, and we'll talk about. I don't even give a fuck about the exit interviews or whatever, but I don't know if I'll ever feel the same way about this team again, because I was so stoked. The Matthews Marner error and like just everything's
the
gonna
North
be
Division, getting the Habs in the first round.
Oh, they're gonna the franchise is turning the corner. Everything's gonna be different. It's gonna be different this time. It's gonna be different.
It's not. Maybe the team is cursed, and it doesn't matter who's wearing the blue and white. They just can't get it done. But I believe that somewhere out there is a team that will dress for the Toronto Maple Leafs that will be able to get the job done.
Will we be alive for that?
I don't know. Like
hard time being a Leafs fan tonight. We didn't even acknowledge once that our pal Fordsey decided to let some fucking healthcare workers into the building.
Yeah, way to repay them with that game.
Yeah, great job, boys, in the blue and white. Anyway, yeah.
We will catch you later.
Hey, I don't even know what to say to Leafs fans at this point.
It doesn't matter. We will do an episode probably in a week or two, and we'll break down what should happen in the offseason and everything. But like I said, let us know if we should even continue next season, because what the fuck does it matter anymore?
That's where we're at, folks. That's how bad things have gotten in Leafland. An all-time low. It can't get lower than this.
It can't get lower. We're 100 episodes in, and we've never gotten off the ground. Love you, Leaf Nation. Hate the fucking team.
Yeah.
Good night.
Hang in there. And we'll catch you later.